Hey, Joe Nortrup here, co-host of the K-Cup and Kelly Construction Group team member. I just wanted to jump on here for a quick moment to thank everyone, thank you all for tuning in to our little podcast, the K-Cup. We dropped our first episode the end of June last year in 2025, really not knowing what we were doing, but decided we were just going to jump in because we really felt compelled to start the conversation around the commercial construction industry and all related businesses. We just felt like it was something that we wanted to do, to build a community around our industry that we love and that we're passionate about. So we want to thank everyone for making it a huge success. By the end of the year, less than 6 months from when we started, the K-Cup had been viewed in 6 countries and listened to in over 85 cities and downloaded around 500 times just in that short period of time. So we consider that a huge success, and we know that it wasn't possible without you all supporting us and tuning into the show. So we hope in 2026 you continue to do that. Please tell a friend. Please take a second to hit that subscribe button. It means a lot, even if you're not watching complete episodes. If you would just, as the episode starts, go ahead and just tap the subscribe button. You're not going to get notifications or get spam because of that, but it does help the algorithm see that people are interested in this content. And every time you subscribe, they push the content out to more viewers. So please do that. And in 2026, we want to encourage you to go from being a passive listener to being an active voice in the conversation around our industry. We have some great interviews planned for the coming year. Hopefully these are conversations with professionals in related industries like architecture, engineering, commercial real estate professionals, and commercial lenders, subcontractors from all different trades, just really anybody related to this industry in some way. We have some great conversations planned that we're hoping are going to spark conversations around the topics that we're going to discuss. So stay tuned in 2026. And again, we thank you for all your support, and we look forward to having a great year and look forward to hearing and seeing your comments. Take care. When you got a pinhead like mine, the thing don't want to sit up there on top, on the top knot. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. No, I want to just start off like this. Like, man, what you think about 26? What's the outlook going in?
I'm always excited about a new year. I'm the eternal optimist, so I look at every new year as just a chance to make things better, and that's how I go into it. I mean, I always think that I'm always looking for something great to happen. So, like I said, eternal optimist. I'm excited about 2026. I think, we have so much potential, and I'm sure a lot of people listening can relate to that. They know what the potential is. It's just a matter of consistently doing the little things that turn potential into,
Right.
results.
Yeah. No, I'm super excited about 26.
You know how fast a year comes on. It seems like the year starts to lag when you hit the holidays and Thanksgiving, and at that point you're just like, let's just wrap this thing up and get on to the next one. But then next thing you know, you're in that new year and it's already 10 days deep.
Right.
And you're like, wow, have I really prepared for this new year? And for a lot of people, this is early January, and for a lot of people, if they haven't already planned out what they're going to do for 2026 or haven't thought about, taking some decisive action in 2026, chances are 2026 is going to turn out to be a repeat of 2025. And I don't know about you, but I think a lot of people would admit that 2025 didn't produce the results that they were hoping for.
Yeah, I know quite a few people ready to slam the door on 25.
Yeah, despite putting forth effort and working hard, but sometimes it's not working harder, it's working smarter, and that constant refinement of processes and things like that. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this episode. I kind of came up with a list of 3 things that if you do these 3 things, one thing's for sure, it will definitely change the outcome of 26. It'll make it differ from what happened in 2025 for anybody that applies these 3 things. And the brutal truth is that the way the years do end, with all this just onslaught of holidays, don't get me wrong, I'm not a bah humbug kind of guy.
Sure.
If you're getting that vibe, but I really could just, I'm a routine person. I don't like getting out of my routine.
Oh yeah, I like my rut.
Yeah, I love being in my work rut and just staying there, because for me, it takes time to get momentum going and feel like I'm actually getting stuff done, and then for that to be broken aggravates me. But I think for a lot of people, the way that shows up is that they go into this long, from November to the end of December. Basically, it's like 6 weeks or so of really not having the mindset of being in business and what they want to accomplish the next year, because they're all wrapped up in family stuff, and what the holidays are,
Right,
especially if you
yeah.
got kids and you're busy.
Yeah, no, that's valid. That's valid for sure.
Yeah, so the chances are that most people are already starting this year and they don't have a plan, and if they do, they haven't really looked at it seriously and implemented the things that they want to implement. So I kind of came up with a short list of 3 things that they could start implementing today, going forward, and then by the end of the first quarter, they would see some results from that. And the 3 things that I want to talk about, and of course I know that you're going to help me drill in on these 3 things, and you're going to apply some real world experience to those things, is one, I think that we all have clients that are costing us money. And so I think we need to take a long look at our client list and probably fire 20% of them. And the reason why you would do that is because then it's going to make room and make necessity, 'cause sometimes necessity is what motivates people to action. You're compelled to get something done. But fire about 20% of the clients that are costing you money, when you really look at everything in total with them, the time that they're taken away from other opportunities, things like that, the actual amount of time that they require for the amount of monies that you receive doing business with them. Sometimes they know how to spread that butter really thin, get that extra piece of toast in there and get a little butter spread on that too, for the same, out of that one little butter pallet, so, or pad or whatever you call it. But, so fire some of your clients, and we'll get into the details of that. Focus on that one thing that really makes you money. They say the riches are in the niches, or niches, however you want to say that. But what it really amounts to is, and it's funny, I remember reading something about this past year, and I remember having the thought to myself, duh, how simple, but really it's something that I really never gave a lot of thought to. But really, if you have one thing, no matter what that one thing is, that actually produced a result and had a client respond or whatever in a good way, and you made some money, do more of that. Yeah. Even if it's not something you're excited about. It's, this whole idea of pursuing your passion to make money is kind of a pipe dream. It's really about pursuing what works and solving a problem for somebody. And it may be a very mundane thing, and it often is something that's it's not super sexy or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
But it's something that solves a problem for somebody, and they're willing to pay you for that. And if we have some of those things that you can look back on in the past year, do more of that thing, whatever that thing is. So,
Right.
So fire some clients that are costing you money or holding you back. Focus on one thing that's made you money, that proved to you that it would make you money. And then schedule your growth before you schedule anything else. And what I'm talking about there is really just taking the time. We all know that we need to grow as business people if we want our business to grow itself. So, businesses are really just people. That's what businesses are. Yeah, they might provide a service or a product that solves a problem for somebody, but without the people in the business, there is no business. So we need to take growth more seriously as leaders, and for the teams. We need to invest in our teams and make sure that, one, they want to be invested in, as far as, are they willing to even take advantage of growth opportunities? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
There's some people that they don't want to grow and learn. They just want to collect a paycheck and then go play Nintendo or whatever their thing is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that too outdated? Is that old? Is that showing my age? And Nintendo, they don't even have Nintendo anymore.
I mean, I know
do
what
they?
Nintendo is, so we're good.
Okay. But you know what I mean, though? Like, it's like some people have no interest in growing and evolving in their role
Yeah, no, that's true.
as your team, as part of your team. But some people do. And then those people, those are opportunities to invest in them. Think about the tools and things that you buy for your jobs, you know, throughout the course of a year. But how much do we invest in teams, you know, and growing their skill set? And so that's something that we need to think about doing. And we need to also make sure that you're investing in yourself as a leader. You know, make sure that, you know, you get some sort of, you know, mentorship or some sort of program in place where you're being challenged, you're being held accountable, you know, so that you know that you're moving the ball forward. And I just think that's something that's always good to reflect on every new year. You know, you look in the mirror and ask yourself, okay, what are you going to do to make you better this year? Because if you're not better, you bet your team's not going to be any better, because they kind of follow the lead, you know.
Yeah.
So if you're setting that example and they see that, then they're either going to aspire to it, or they're going to be like, man, this really ain't for me. They're taking this stuff too seriously around here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So those are the three things that I think that I'd like to explore a little bit in this episode. Fire some clients, focus on one thing that's going to make some money, and then schedule some growth before you schedule your work. So you're making sure that time is blocked out to grow and develop your skill set in whatever discipline it is that people are engaging in out there in business. So what do you think about that as far as, like, you know, the year just all of a sudden showing up, and now we're already, almost 10 days in? Like, what's your feelings?
Yeah, I
about
mean, I
all
think that, I know for me, I mean, I look forward to it like it's a hard reset, like the first week of January is all of a sudden going to be this different thing.
Yeah.
But to your point earlier, it's just another week.
Yeah.
It's literally just another week. The only thing that's different is you've had some time off the couple of weeks leading up to it.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's no real, all of a sudden you're in this different world.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you got to be real intentional when you know, preparing and talking about that hard reset.
Exactly.
If you don't spend some time, like you mentioned, you know, in November and December, thinking about what that looks like and doing some planning, and all of a sudden you're in 2026 expecting a new, different year, and you're already setting about it the same way you did the year prior, you know.
Yeah.
So that definitely very valid. I mean, you know, thinking about some of the points that you talked about, you know, firing clients. I mean, that's a difficult one, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to lean to the more critical side. I'm usually kind of critical of myself or how I do things, but
Yeah.
I've definitely found myself in that situation where we probably needed to cut ties with somebody, and we didn't. And
Yeah.
it's you know, you work so hard to get clients, you work so hard to grow your revenue. It's hard to say no, even sometimes when you know it's not the best situation.
Yeah.
You know, there's clients that they pay you slow. There's clients that drag you along for months and months and months to not do the job, but yet you keep running through that process with them.
Yeah.
There's lots of different scenarios where, you know, could lead to a bad client. But,
Yeah.
you know, if the person's difficult to work with in the beginning, they're probably going to be difficult to work with throughout the project.
Ain't gonna get better, huh?
So just, you know, take some of those signs. And if you're doing the right things, there's going to be a better client. There's going to be another client out there to replace them. It's hard to trust that. It's hard to believe that. I know for me it is.
For sure.
But I agree. I mean, I think that there's lots of clients that you spend a lot of time and effort on that you could take that same time and effort and really grow a new client and double, triple your revenue with another client.
Yeah.
So I certainly believe that's something good that, you know, companies should look at. They should look at, you know, is there anybody out here that's dragging us down? You know, well, maybe you've worked with them for 10 years and you know, you don't want to make that move, but go look and see if you know, are they really producing for you? Or are you really making money with them?
Yeah.
So no, I agree with that. Like I said, I'm probably the one that holds on to the clients way too long just because I don't want to make the move, but
Yeah.
I believe it. I definitely think it's something that that companies should consider for sure.
Yeah. It's funny. I have to get this quote in there because it just won't leave my head, so I can move on to the next thing. But I think Einstein is always given credit for this saying. I don't know if he actually said this because this thing's been around a long time. I'm sure someone said it before him, but maybe in a different language. But he said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. So we definitely don't want to be insane in 2026.
Yeah.
So
That actually crossed my mind, but I was like, you know what, I'm not going to say it.
You're not going to go there? Oh, come on.
But yeah, I mean, I think that it's a real thing. I mean, you need to really evaluate your clients, and I'd mentioned in that one little spiel there that if they're difficult to work with, then it's probably going to be a difficult process, to deal with them. But also, if they're not willing to follow your process, if you have a process that you're bringing clients on board through a certain process, but if there's somebody who just wants to see the number, or there's somebody that bucks the way that you usually onboard clients, I mean, that may be a sign right there that, you know what, let's go a different direction.
Yeah, they want to do it their way, regardless of it being your ship. They want to grab the wheel as soon as they get on board. That's not cool.
Yeah.
So let's give some practical reasons why this matters. So anyone listening, would have some solid reasons as to why they want to look at their business too and look at their client list. But for example, and you kind of touched on this, time spent on bad clients equals time not spent developing new clients or on clients that pay. Your reputation, it's not shaped by work that you hide. It's shaped by work that you show. And what I really mean by that is that chances are, if you're in a situation where you're working with a client that's really just kind of bleeding you out, it's probably not a project that you're going to highlight anyways, because there's probably some aspect or aspects to that project that make it just something that you just really want to get it done and make it go away. It's not one of those home runs that you want to, hire a professional photographer and use it in your marketing and all that. So keep that in mind as you're, when you engage in projects with clients like that this is not only something that you may not make, decent money at, but it may also be something that it's a time block that's going to get lost in the archive somewhere because you're not going to be able to really use it to further your business after the fact. And then profit margins, technically profit margins are more important than top line revenue. And I know that there's nuances to that conversation because there are times, the old saying is that money has to flow. And if money doesn't flow, you got a problem with your business. So the extreme of that could lend, business owner to think, well, I just need the cash flow and I'll take jobs at 0%, margin to do that. If I can just pay the bills and keep the lights on and money's flowing in and out, I'm good. But the reality is that if you can focus on projects that you're going to get better margins on, one, you may be able to do less projects. Two, you'll be able to maybe sharpen your focus on those fewer projects with the bigger margins. So not only do you build your reputation because you end up with a really happy client that was served well, nice project that you can use to market yourself with further and all that, but you're going to make more money is the baseline of that.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I think clearly that would be a client that, probably needs to be let go at, if you, as a company, you want to be able to, what the amount of money you want to make or the margin you want to make. And there's clients out there that aren't willing to pay that.
Yeah.
And that don't necessarily make them a cheap client, but they obviously don't see the value in the way you see it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's important to know and important to realize because if that is the way they see it, then maybe it's not a good fit.
Yeah.
And just thinking about spending that energy and that time, construction takes a lot of energy and time.
Sure does.
In the estimating and in the actual construction and in the project management.
Yeah.
So if you're going to spend that amount of time to maybe if it's this person that don't want to pay your price, you're constantly repricing because you're taking off scope or you're doing whatever
Yeah.
to try to get down to the number that makes sense for them, then you're essentially losing money. So if you need to go find that client that does see the value that you feel like you're offering and they're willing to pay that price.
Yeah.
And for that same amount of energy, you make the money that you want to make.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, and what people may not fully appreciate that in the commercial industry, really in the construction industry, period, residential or commercial, but in the commercial industry where we primarily focus, the contractor is just expected to give away a lot of upfront value before he ever gets a job. I mean, think about the whole public bid, scenario. Think of the investment that you have in a week's worth of public bids or in a 30-day chunk.
Yeah, no, it's a lot.
And then same with even private clients. A lot of times, like you say, you get tire kickers. They want this bid and they want it yesterday, but a lot of times they don't fully appreciate that you have a professional, person that's on salary, on your payroll, that's sitting in an office that you had to provide, with a lot of electronic devices that cost a lot of money, supported by, a tech company that you pay a monthly premium to make sure everything's working good. And that person has to sit in that office and put this number together for that client. So before they ever get that from you, you've already got a substantial investment in it.
Right.
If it's a half a day or whatever.
Yeah.
And
it actually extends beyond that because, we're asking a lot of our subcontractor partners and stuff that we work with to spend time on it. So
yes.
So to your point, there's quite an investment of time and effort that goes into these things that oftentimes it's never realized.
Yeah, exactly. So, point being that's just more incentive to really kind of pick and choose, maybe get better at qualifying on our end who you want to do business with so that you have less of that, wasted effort or expended energy where there's really no ROI ever.
Yeah, and there are clients out there that believe in and understand what it takes and
yes,
and
there are.
see the value in all that and understands it.
Yeah, I've literally heard a client say here and there, look, I know I'll pay you for this. I don't mind paying for your time or whatever. I just need to know what this would cost. So that that person, wow, really understands that it's not free. We may provide it at no charge to people, but it's not free. It costs you money to provide.
Well, I know recently we just, here in the first of the year, we've had a project where the guy come to us, said, look, we have this much money to spend. This is what we want to do. We don't know if we can do all this for that amount of money, but let's start working on it. Let's price it. We'll scale back if we have to. This is what we want to do. And he understands the value of the work that we're about to put into it.
Yeah.
And he's telling us, look, we're going to do the job with you guys. And it's a client that we've done work for, so it's not like we don't have a relationship. They know who we are. They know how we do things.
Yeah.
But they understand the time and the effort that it takes. They understand that, everything that goes into it. So they're kind of giving us the numbers. They're giving us this information in the beginning.
Yeah.
They don't want to waste our time, and they don't want their time wasted.
Yeah.
So that's a great example of a client that, like, we're not going to fire those guys.
That's right.
They they're going to pay the price that we feel like is valuable, or that we're worth, and they see the value there.
Yeah.
So that would be an example of a client that you'd want to pick up.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're obviously familiar with the process, and they appreciate the effort that it takes to get the ball rolling, and they've already. A lot of times you have to manage the expectations of clients as you're onboarding them because their expectations a lot of times aren't realistic. Just because it's not because they're of any bad motive. It's just they lack experience in the process or whatever. But every once in a while, you get clients like this that they've managed their own expectations. They're telling you up front, look, we know that we have a dream list here. It's a wish list.
Yeah.
But we want to see what you can come up with and how much of that we can get accomplished. We can scale things back if we need to, but let's get to work. And like you said, that's a great client. So let's give some action items on this first step about firing some clients. What could someone actually do? Well, you'd want to start by making a list of your clients. Make a client list for 2025, and then you want to figure out whatever that number of clients is. Figure out what the number would be to look at 20% of the client list. So then, if you have 100, then you'd want to look at 20 people, right? And then out of that 20, you'd want to pick a percentage of those that have really kind of cost you money at the end of the day and not made you money. Things that would help you figure that out would be like, how they paid, or if they paid. Did they require a lot more time than what they paid for? Were they always very needy and wanted extra time? Did they cause a lot of stress during the project that what really was undue? It was just because their expectations weren't really matching, the process. And then, if they don't align with the way that you like to do business, maybe it's someone that's, wanting to cut corners and do things that you're just not comfortable with, and you really rather just not do business with them. So those are some action items. You can create an exit plan for that bottom percentage, that bottom 20% or less, whatever you're comfortable with. But by creating an exit plan, for clients, in other words, you don't just call them up and say, hey, you guys suck, I'm going to get rid of you today. So thank you. Nice doing business with you, but no more.
And maybe you even make some effort to replace that client before you kind of offboard them or whatever.
Yeah, that would be really smart. It would take some effort to do that, but some planning and follow through. But yeah, that would be even better if you could do that and then ease them off that way. And then, of course, you can draft a script prior to having these conversations. But this is good exercise to have these kind of conversations, and then just, have a referral script in mind. Say, look, I really don't think that, our situation's going to benefit either one of us going forward. But, I'd like to refer you to this contractor or this person. I think they can take good care of you and be more in line with what you're after.
Yeah.
Something like that. So.
Well, I mean, for me, I like to be very transparent.
Yeah.
Typically. But, I may not make it that transparent when I'm offloading a client. I mean, maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. I guess
Tact would be the word of the day, I think, on that one.
I mean, you can always be too busy, right? You can always have too many irons in the fire.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there's ways. Maybe I'm second guessing myself now that I'm saying it, but I mean, you want to be. You definitely can be transparent. I mean, the way you're suggesting it is it's probably the right way to do it. Yeah. But I me going back to the critical self, I don't really want to completely let go of that person completely.
Yeah.
So I would probably lean in towards that. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're busy. We can't handle this project at this time or whatever.
Yeah.
But even that in itself ends up leading that customer to somebody else anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe transparency and just that script written for that. Breakaway might be the right move.
I mean, I think there's a learning opportunity there for even a client where, they may have a moment of reflection and say, wow, was I really that difficult? They didn't want to work with me.
No, that's a great point.
It could be a growth moment for them. And you never know, they may come back with a completely different attitude and a better expectation at another time and say, I really do want to do business with you. What do we got to do to make this happen? So,
this I'm just sitting here talking about this. This kind of it shows you that sometimes like indecisiveness is can be a killer.
Yeah.
And I'm actually seeming a little indecisive, like with this client that we're firing right here. So
yeah.
I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you just make it clear cut and cut them loose.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it could be a positive experience, even though it's not, fun.
Yeah,
it could still be positive. So I also like to make application across the industry. everything that we talk about as commercial contractor, a general contractor in the commercial space, we know that we have complementary industries that we work with all the time: realtors, lenders, and architects and engineers. So some points for, across the industry for point one about firing some people off your client list. Contractors, fire the client that nickel and dimes you to death. Like whenever you're in a project and they're wanting to make a change. Real estate agents, you could stop chasing buyers that aren't pre-qualified. Send them to a banker first and get them pre-qualified, and then you got somebody that can actually pull the trigger, and you're not just out passing the time looking at properties. Lenders, you can drop referral partners. So listen up, real estate agents, because I just told you to refer them to a lender. But lenders, drop referral partners that are consistently sending you impossible clients. They're never going to qualify for a loan, and so don't waste your time on that.
Yeah.
And then architects, you want to walk away from clients that don't value design and don't value timelines. Like they don't appreciate that. Once we get this ball rolling, we kind of have to get momentum going and to keep moving, and that's going to require participation on your part. So, anyways, that's point one: fire some clients. Any last thoughts on that one?
No, I think like I say, I think it's good advice. I said that, and then I went all around the world trying not to fire the client.
Well, it's good.
No.
It's good to have that tension of back and forth and trying to figure it out.
Yeah, but no,
Sure.
I think it's good advice. I think it's something that can definitely help a lot of people. It's just one of those moves that you got to make, and then you see the fruits of it.
Yeah, you free up resources so that you can pursue something that the point is, and I think that's what you're getting at. Like when you let go, you have to pursue then the other side of that equation, which is to fill that space back up.
Yeah.
You don't want to let people go and then just twirl your thumbs.
I would definitely lean towards trying to fill that gap before I cut loose.
Yeah, that would be ideal if you could do that, if you could manage that. All right, so let's talk about the second step out of the three steps to make 2026 a great year, and that's to commit to one revenue stream that really produced results for you in the prior year, and then double down on that. So the reality is that for most business owners is you're spread out like scrambled eggs on a big skillet. You're just doing too many things at once, mm-hmm. And so when you're spread thin like that, obviously it you go down a lot of paths. And some of them have ROIs at the end of them, and some of them don't.
Why do I feel like this is directed at me?
Nothing personal now. Are your ears burning? But seriously, when you're spread too thin, it's very difficult to really focus on those things that you should be putting your energy into, and the way that what you should put energy into is when you look at the books, what actually paid the bills that year, and then focus on those things. Analyze, well, is this something that's kind of a niche pursuit? Is this something I could specialize in, or what could I do as far as my processes and how the team is structured to make that something that we could do more of, things like that. So why this matters, for those listening, 3 reasons why it matters to double down on things that actually produced an ROI. 1, specialization usually equals premium price. They say the riches are in the niches, because when you can specialize even just a little, it usually means that your margin's going to go up. Focus equals faster execution. So the more you focus on a smaller target, so to speak, the sharper that focus is going to get, and your ability, after some reps of doing the same thing over and over, your ability to do that faster and more succinctly gets better. So faster execution means that you have more opportunity for more volume, and that obviously is going to create more revenue. And then, of course, like I said, the riches are in the niches, and that is cliche, but nowadays everyone says that, but the reality is it's true. If you can find a problem to solve that's a specialized problem or in a niche area, and you don't mind doing the same, you know, mundane thing over and over again, as long as it's paying, you know, whatever that is. Like for a plumber, I'm sure they make some good money just changing out toilets. It's not the best job in the world as far as, you know, what it's not like, again, it's not a sexy job. You know, you don't go around telling people to impress them, yeah, I changed out 5 toilets today. But when you get that check on Friday and you see what you got paid for changing out those 5 toilets, you're like, that's money. That's good.
Yeah.
I'll do more of that. Give me 100 toilets to change out.
Right.
So that's kind of the point. So no matter what your business is, you can figure out what that thing is, and then, you know, actions that you can take is just identify what those high margin service or products are that you serve out to your clients, and then make a commitment to try for the first quarter. Try to make that 60 to 70% of what you pursue in that first quarter, and just really focus on it. Give yourself 90 days to see if you can actually make that happen, as far as sharpening your focus on whatever that was that produced the best ROI for you. And then if you're able to do that, again, like we said, kind of build some systems around that so that you can do more of that with the team that you have available to you. So how do you feel about the idea, like in 2026 and looking back on 2025, how do you feel about, or is there, like, I haven't had the chance to really talk to you about this as far as our company's concerned, but how do you feel about focusing on in areas where you felt like you had some home runs, and then kind of avoiding the areas that weren't so, you know, great, weren't so prosperous?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a few things that we're kind of leaning into this year, just based off the results from last year. But I mean, I would say that I've seen more of a change in this through the years. I mean, definitely had the tendency to try to search out other revenue arms,
Mm-hmm.
and found out that trying to do a bunch of things at once can be difficult.
Yes.
So I think that we've, you know, this kind of goes back to a podcast that we had some time back where, you know, just kind of the power of being able to say no.
Yeah.
There's jobs that come along that just aren't a good fit.
That's for sure.
And sometimes those take you down a little rabbit hole where maybe you do one and you think, oh man, I can go make some money doing this, and you start trying to do this other thing that's not commercial general contracting or
Yeah.
you know, whatever our focus is.
Yeah.
And you can get sidetracked. And that's definitely happened. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and I would say that quite a few years I've ventured off into other stuff that I thought that I could do this and that, and you know, go make a lot of extra revenue or whatever, and found it to be quite difficult. And then the thing that you actually do focus on maybe suffers a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's a great point. I think you got to realize what you're good at, and to your point, not just what you're good at, but what's making you money.
Yeah.
And then go pour into that, and really grow that. And I think that would be a very positive way to change 26.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's make some application of this principle across the industry, because it's kind of fun to see what you could do if you're in these different roles in the industry. For contractors to apply this principle, it would be pick one type of project. You know, like say you're a residential contractor, you might pick out kitchen remodels and just say, I'm just going to do kitchen remodels. I'm going to sell the snot out of those, and I'm going to do every kitchen remodel I can get my hands on and make those pay. For commercial contractors, commercial build-outs, you know, white box build-outs, you could just go after everybody that you think may have a white box build-out they need done and just pursue that, market to that, you know, make everybody in the area know that this is what you specialize in. You're the white box build-out guy, or whatever. Real estate agents, focus on one. In real estate, they'll call it a farm area or a neighborhood, but focus on a farm area, and then really put your energy into that. Know every nook and cranny of that farm area. You know the status of every property in there as far as solds and comps and all that. Lenders specialize in one loan type. If there's a certain loan product that you just, when you look back over 25 and you had all these different loan products, and this one you sold 150 of those, you might want to try to do some more of that type of loans products if you can. And then architects own a certain building type. Like you could specialize if you're a designer, and maybe even young architects that work for a bigger firm. If you're looking to step out on your own at some point, and there's a niche that you like, that you're gifted at, or just really enjoy doing, start specializing on that. You have to do a lot of reps to be able to become innovative in a certain niche, but you never know what you might come up with that might really hit a home run for you. So those are some ways to apply this across the industry. So for us here at Kelly Construction Group, what do you see us doing to apply this?
Well, you're asking the hard questions now, huh?
The best for last.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think that we really, we've talked a lot about design build and, kind of trying to, control where your next job might come from rather than just kind of sitting on the bid world, waiting on the next one to pop up.
Yeah.
So I think we want to really kind of lead into those types of jobs where we're connecting with clients early on, getting their project in design, and kind of building our pipeline through our design, knowing that we have, these jobs coming up as soon as design's complete.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're really trying to lean into, and that's what we like. I mean, that fits our culture. We talk about it all the time, but we're very team oriented. And that really translates to that type of project as well.
Yeah.
You take them from a team approach in the beginning. You're working with the same team the whole time. I think that's the direction we want to kind of, lean. And I think that's going to make 2026 good.
Yeah. So we want to start catching clients earlier in the the sales rotation, or whatever you want to call it, that they're earlier in the journey, like you said, and we've talked about this a great deal the last couple months, and we're working on improving that, and we've set some processes up to where we're going to be able to do more of that. But we're just going to start being more proactive about reaching out to people and finding out, what their needs are, what would be a great scenario for them if they decided to have a project, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like how would they like to see that unfold, things like that, and just start getting involved earlier in the conversation. So, and I think that should produce some great results. So I'm excited about that. I know you are too, taking a little more proactive approach to moving more towards that design build, scenario or vibe or whatever you want to call it, and having more control over the pipeline. So, all right, sounds good. Well, this third step, schedule your growth before you schedule your work. And, we talked a little bit about this, about the importance of growing professionally. But, the reality is that although, most business owners would say, yeah, growth's important, but at the end of the day, if they don't have a pre-made schedule that growth activities are included in, they're going to go either put out a fire that's brewing currently, or they're going to go do something that's going to make them, some money real quick. So I feel like these headphones want to fall off from this pinhead I have over here.
There's no way they're falling off.
I have to get some Velcro on my ears.
It'd be like a rubber band if you grab it.
Yeah. So anyways, most people, are going to avoid the learning part. It seems like there's an aversion to learning and growing these days. And I don't know if our phones and reels have made this a reality, because it's easy to just keep getting those quick dopamine hits by scrolling reels and watching YouTube. But the reality is that, you want to get a really good dopamine hit, have some good personal growth, professional growth that produces some kind of really tangible result. And that's pretty rewarding too. But
sounds great.
Sounds great. Sounds different when I say it, huh? You just got to figure out how to get there, right? That's the hard part. But that's where the work comes in.
I tried to schedule everybody some growth classes. The problem is they were after work, so nobody wanted to attend.
Yeah, that might be a problem. You might want to ease into the after the work activities, or if you can just get the during work hour activities going.
Yeah,
properly,
no, everybody was up for those. Everybody was up for those.
All right, especially if it's golf. All
We've been
right.
trying to we've been trying to plan a weekend growth seminar for 5 years now.
That's funny. That explains a lot. All right, so what are we going to do to move this from planning stage into execution stage?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, obviously that's good. You know, the first thing that when you first said that, I was thinking, you know, plan for your business or plan in your business for growth, meaning, you know, if we want to do $25 million in sales, like what do we think our operating costs are going to look like? What do we think that, you know, our sales plan needs to be in that type of thing? So my mind was kind of headed the wrong direction. And I think that's very important to do in the company. But, you know, from what you're talking about, you know, I think that you're talking about growing yourself. You know, me as a leader, our project managers are project managers, superintendent's a superintendent, like prepare yourself and
Yeah.
be ready when the growth happens.
Yes.
You know, and I mean, I think that that's super important. I think that, you know, personal growth and leadership growth and all that can seem a little, you know, I don't know if corny is the right word, but it gets a little weird until you actually start doing it, and then you see people kind of get inspired.
Yeah.
And then also just as a, you know, as a leader, when I do hear this kind of stuff, it makes me think like, wow, like one thing that I've been listening to, and one thing that I know you're going to ask this question, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the answer out there. One thing that I'd like to do in 2026 and soon in 2026 is find out like what it's like to work with me as a leader. Like I don't really know what that's like.
Is this going to be anonymous?
I mean, it can be. It certainly can be. But I mean, it can't be that bad because a lot of you guys have been here for a long time. But I am curious to know like what that looks like, and you know, if there's things that I can do to be better, and I know there is, then what does that look like? You know what I mean? And honestly, I think that anonymous probably is the way to go about that, because you want people to be completely honest. And I know that can be a hard conversation. If
You know,
if
back
it's-
in my day, when we still had wooden spoke wheels, we had a little thing called the suggestion box.
yeah,
We just drop suggestions in there, and
yeah.
then go up front and listen to the boss scream in his office as he read the suggestions.
Yeah, no, definitely not looking for suggestions. I just maybe, you know, I guess I better be really conscious about how I word this.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. I mean, that sounds like a great plan. I mean, obviously, any feedback that you get like that could be beneficial, you know. And
Yeah.
I think that if you're steering, if your team is the ship that you're steering, and like we talked about this a little earlier, you know, whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter if you have the best product it was ever invented that solved this particular problem. If you don't have a team around it, and the team's not cohesive, the team's not bought in, the team's doesn't function even remotely properly, then it doesn't matter, because the thing's just going to sit in the warehouse or on the shelf or whatever, and you're not going to have a business. The business is the people. Just like the business on the other end of that equation are the people who buy your products or services. It's people on both ends. So it's interesting to me. It's like a lot of businesses will invest in the latest tools, and they're buying all all the good stuff and shiny objects. But when it comes to their people, it's like, hey, I'd like to go to this course that's going to make me a better, project manager or whatever it is, or this. I'd like to take this safety course to get qualified. It's like, what are you talking about? That's stupid. I got money for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sometimes investing in people. It's hard to see the value in it, but the reality is that you go have a conversation with somebody that's really successful, that makes a substantial living. They don't even use the same vocabulary we use at different levels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because they've done some training. They've had mentorship. They've had training that has trained them to that next level, because there really is a whole nother vernacular that people use at different levels of success and stuff. So investing in teams and investing in processes and in your people does pay dividends. And I'm not saying that you have to be at this super high level. I'm just saying that if you want them to be good at what they do, there has to be a process in place to make sure that they're meeting those marks.
Yeah, I mean, I think
whatever that is,
I mean, this just goes back to everything we've been talking about. I mean, you can't expect the company to grow if the people aren't growing,
Exactly.
and if you aren't growing as a leader.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, there's such thing as on the job training.
Yeah.
But see what I did there? but there's certainly room and definitely a need for growth for all your people through other programs and other things outside of on the job training.
No, I agree. I mean, I think I think there's real opportunity there as far as getting ROI on that. Of course, like I said, you have to. It's like everything. You have to make sure that one, your culture, you're hiring the kind of people that want to grow, want to improve, and are bought in, so that they're not looking to just stockpile a bunch of skills and then go on down the road when someone offers them $1 more an hour or whatever, that type of thing.
Find the ones that are willing to do it on nights and weekends.
Nights and weekends, yeah. Yeah. Anyhow, so obviously most business people, again, think that growth's important, but really, what do we do to plan for growth? That's really what this point is all about. Scheduling your growth first before you schedule your work. And that way, you're going to get that stuff done. Like you said, the woo stuff or the corny stuff is going to happen first, because that will compel you to get it done so that you can move on to your ROI tasks that are going to, give you your return. So, but it matters. Let's give the why it matters list out real quick. The 3 points. You can't grow what you don't prioritize. So if you don't prioritize development in your company, it just isn't going to happen. You're going to stay right where you are year after year. The problem is the market doesn't stay where you are year after year. So if you're not getting better and sharper, there's going to be certain markets and certain years that are just going to kick your butt. Reactive businesses survive, where proactive businesses thrive. They take it to the next level. And then your future revenue depends on what you do today, not on what you did yesterday. So whatever you finished yesterday doesn't even matter anymore. It matters what we want to do tomorrow and what we're setting our sights on, in the future. So anyways, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you just have to be intentional, have a plan for it, have a plan for who you want trained and how you want trained. Yeah. And get that on a schedule. I mean, that sounds very simple, but that's really what it boils down to. If it gets scheduled, it gets done. If it don't get scheduled, it don't get done. Yeah. So if you think leadership's important, if you think, growth of your team's important, then, find which avenue you want to go and get it on a calendar.
Yeah. So like the action steps that I put on this step, on step number 3, was to block 5 hours out a week on your calendar right now for growth stuff. So that would be an hour a day, say. Now that might be too much. I don't know. That might be way ambitious.
Sounds like they'd be Superman by next month or two.
One would hope. But anyways, just as a starting point, we could dial that back to 30 minutes a week, if that's more in line with what we want to do. But anyways, that's a suggestion as far as an action step. Block out some time per week. Make it early in the day for your calendar so you can get it done. Jon suggests you come in 2 hours before your start time to get that done. And
grow on your own time.
Grow on your own time. And then define what growth means to you. So, you might be a business owner out there that, you're a one-man show or something. And so you got to figure out what's growth going to be so that you can keep your business moving forward and you're still producing. So it could be things like, you got to buy out time to network and relationship build because you always got your tools on, and you know that it's easier to put your bags on and go to work and not do that kind of stuff. So you have to block it out and make yourself do it. Content creation and marketing. We know the digital economy is real. We know that that's where marketing and sales is heading, to brand building and all that. So are you doing anything at all digitally, online, to promote your business? Learning a new skill or certification, we talked about that. There's always mentorship programs and different kind of training programs, no matter what discipline you're in a business, in a team setting, where team members could go and receive some advanced training and get really good at what they do. Learn a new skill, certification, outreach to ideal clients. That's something that you might want to block out as part of your business development. That's growth. As a leader, that's really one of your primary jobs as a founder, is like once you get to a certain level with your team and your structure, and you have time, freed up to start pursuing other things. Business development, new growth, things like that is something that, the founder, the CEO oftentimes takes on, and that takes shape in a lot of forms: lunches, coffees, whatever, recreational things occasionally with clients, whatever it takes. And then strategic planning. There's things that you can do strategically where you can look at the whole business, look at the processes, look at the projects on the board, how things are going, and make some moves instead of just letting things unfold as they would. Actually proactively go in and say, well, let's do this first, that second, this first, and and we're going to move this over here, and we're all going to focus on this right now, and let's knock this out and then do that. Just putting some thought into how the business is flowing and what you might be able to do to make it produce a better ROI in the end, that make it more efficient or whatever. So anyways, your thoughts on that step number 3.
Yeah, no, that's super important. I think what I'm probably going to do is bring my Dale Carnegie rep back out, see if I can't get you guys signed up for some Thursday night growth classes. No, I'm kidding. I know that we have a couple of things that we've been talking about doing, and there's a couple of groups that we've been invited to join and are looking to join. And I think by joining those groups, we're going to grow in some of the ways that we've talked about here. So I think that's going to be our approach in 26. Right now we don't have anything really planned as far as, any kind of individual sessions for any of our PMs, supers, anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll end up with some of that stuff throughout the year. But I know right now we have those couple of groups that we're going to be attending. And I think that we're going to see some significant growth for ourselves, through those connections and through those relationships. So
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. I think that's one of the biggest ways that I can see right off that we're trying to do something a little different.
Yeah, I look forward to that because that's something that we haven't done a lot of up to this point. Just getting a little more proactive about, being involved in the community and, pursuing developing relationships and of course not looking for anything up front. It's being genuine about it and just really making yourself available to people and all that, and it just naturally turns into improving business overall. So let's make application across the industry. I like this little part: contractors for growth, schedule time for estimating new projects, and relationship building with suppliers and subs. That's kind of a great suggestion, especially for back to the one-man band type of thing. If you're running a company, those are things that's probably suffering because you're out there doing the work and stuff when you really need to start trying to figure out how you're going to step back and do stuff like this. The way to get it done is schedule it.
Yeah.
So make sure you're estimating that next project if you're the one that's going to do it, so that when this project ends, you got another one ready to send your team to, or for you to go to if you're one-man band in it still. And then the other thing, relationship building, that's so important. We've learned that, and we're working on that actively. It's really hard when you're a small company and maybe one or two guys, or or gals or whatever, you just have to buy out time to do that. And it can be difficult because you have to slow your pace down, and just kind of be present, which can be hard to do when your mind's out there on the job,
Right.
pulling wire or pulling rope or whatever it is. Real estate agents block out time for sphere outreach, open houses, community events. So you got to get yourself out there in that community. Lenders schedule time for realtor partner meetings, and then follow up on applications. So that's relationship building there for lenders with the people who are going to bring them clients, which is real estate agents, which we pursue that a lot ourselves too, because we know that they really are ground zero for a lot of developers and people looking to build a project. And then architects dedicate time to, develop your own portfolio. Kind of talked about that. Young architects out there, you might be working for, a firm, but at some point you're going to want to, you want to scale your business and scale your income, and it's probably going to mean doing something on your own. So start building your portfolio, attending industry events and networking with people, and you can also pursue thought leadership opportunities. Get really good at what you do, and then share that with other people through articles, books, whatever. So closing it all down, 3 things for 2026 to be better than what 2025 was. We want to fire some clients. We talked about the details of that, and the details will be in the show notes. Focus on one thing that made you money last year and do more of that. And then schedule growth before you schedule your work, so that you're continuing to move your business forward and not just staying stagnant where you are right now. So closing thoughts, John.
Yeah, man. Excited about 26. Gonna put some of these things to action here. Can't
Sounds
wait to
good.
see the results.
I know. Sounds good, man.
Ready to go.
All right. Sounds good. So if you enjoyed this episode, tell somebody about it. Welcome back to the K-Cup. Welcome back to 2026. Hope that you're tuning back in. We had a little hiatus there during the holidays, but we're back at it, and we're glad that you joined us for this episode. So y'all take care. Cut.
Good.